makes it realize. Feels so good just to be alive. Time's a gift, my time is free. I can spend it on you, you can spend it on me. I could say you'll be blown away by the change you see in me. And I feel alright, dance all night, put a little flavor in my life. I put the good stuff in.
Thank you for joining us as with this episode we celebrate Black History Month. Starting out at the Colored School in Hampton. Then off to the Tuskegee Airmen Memorial in Walterboro. Next, Harriet Tubman Memorial in Yemassee. Then, the Penn School in Beaufort. Then we're off to Given State Park and ending up in Kaka in Ravenel. Meet the people and places of Colleton.
I am Carolin.
I am Colleton. I am Colleton.
I am Carolin.
I am Colleton.
I'm Colleton.
I am Carolin.
So come visit us today in Colleton County.
Francis Louis Cardozo was born in Charleston in 1836. After the Civil War, he became the principal of the Avery Normal Institute, one of the first secondary schools for children of color. During Reconstruction in 1868, Cardozo was elected the Secretary of State of South Carolina and later held the office of Treasurer. He's recognized as the first African American in the U.S. to hold a statewide office. On this day, we remember Francis Louis Cardozo.
Put a visit to the first colored school in Hampton, South Carolina at the top of your must-do list. This incredible school, built in 1929, is filled with African American history and original artifacts, teaching African American students through the 8th grade. Listen and learn a first-hand experience from former student James Pete Haygood, chronicles from Hampton Mayor Robert Brown, and book a tour with curator Elaine M. Dobson-Faison. Imagine how these desks could talk. You'll remember this visit for a lifetime.
I'm James Pete Haygood. It started in 1934. My first class was first grade. At the time, we didn't have no preschooling. Either you wait till you get 6 years old before you start. And that was the record that my records show from the time I started until I graduated in 1943. But we had a good time. We had a good time.
My name is Elaine Dobson-Faison. I lived in Hampton, and I've been in Hampton all my life. I'm the curator of the Old Colored School Museum in Hampton, South Carolina. I love history, and I got the history from one of the former councilmen, Mr. Bo Peep Haggard.
This is a beginning. This was one of the first African American school that was built in Hampton, because school was going on at the Husper Baptist Church. We had an old house, and they got some people that was teaching whenever they could at this old house. But what happened? Somebody set that house on fire. We know the situation at that time was very turbulent for African American to get education. So then we moved at the Husper Church. And from Husper Church, this is where this school started.
But This school, it has very fond memories because I had made a lot of friends here. And I just enjoy what I do. I love history, as I said before. And I love doing research on history.
We had a rough time trying to get education. You know, at one time it was a violation for African American person to have education and have a gun. That was taught to us in case it ever happened, we will know how to protect ourselves. But all of that wasn't bad. When we got up like 5th, 6th grade, we had a field day at this school. And all of these other schools would come as a competitor. And somehow or the other, Hampton would always come out victorious.
Oh, also, this school, it did generate quite a few famous black students. We had two, which were the Field brothers. They traveled around the world. They were dancers, and they also traveled with Lucille Bowles. Also, we had quite a few students. Also, we had one who graduated with me from high school. In '65, he became one of the Blue Angels. And you viewing this, to come visit us from Hampton, you'll find a lot of interesting things. You'll find a lot of artifacts. And I'm quite sure you would love this museum. Also, one of my biggest highlights is we have an outdoor toilet.
During World War II, the Walterboro, South Carolina airfield served as a training ground for Army airmen, including the Tuskegee Airmen, a group of African American military pilots. They formed the 332nd Fighter Group and the 477th Bombardier Group of the United States Air Force. Both dedicated and determined, they could proudly claim that none of the bombers they escorted in combat were lost to enemy fighters. On October 14, 2023, a rededication of the monument was held in Walterboro and was respectfully attended by many gratefully.
Charlotte Fortin was an educator living in Philadelphia during the Civil War when she had a calling to travel to St. Helena Island off the coast of South Carolina to join what was known as the Port Royal Experiment, a group of teachers tasked with teaching the former slave children on the Sea Islands. Gaining trust from the Gullah children was a daunting task, but Charlotte persevered as the first black teacher on the islands. We recognize Charlotte Fortin Grimke's contribution to our Low Country history.
Hi, my name is Peach Morrison. I am the Executive Director of the South Carolina Low Country Tourism Commission. We serve Beaufort, Hampton, Jasper, and Colleton counties, and our mission is to promote economic development through a formal program of tourism for the four-county area that we serve. We're here at the Frampton Plantation House, and this is our visitor center, open 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, and 8:30 to 5. We are very privileged during the months of June and July to have the traveling exhibition of Harriet Tubman, The Journey to Freedom. It is a beautiful sculpture, 8.5 feet long, 8.5 feet tall, by about 4 feet wide. She sits right in front of our plantation house here on our grounds at the visitor center. She was crafted by a gentleman named Wesley Wofford Studios out of Cashiers, North Carolina, and she's going all over the country. She's spent a lot of time in New York, in Philadelphia, in New Jersey, and this is her first trip to South Carolina. We have her for June and July, which of course we had her for Juneteenth, and we also had her for the 160th anniversary of her Cumbie River Raid that was just about 14 miles up the road. So we're really privileged to have her here. She'll leave here and go to Georgetown for 3 months for the town, and then she'll go to Brook Green Gardens for 3 months. So we're excited to have her in South Carolina, where she really did a lot of really wonderful things.
Harriet Tubman sailed the sea. Come on, children, and follow me. Come on, children, and follow me. Harriet Tubman sailed the sea. Come on, children, and follow me. Come on, children, and follow me.
This specific piece was a commission request. And so it was really just a request, and they wanted to celebrate freedom, and they wanted to celebrate Harriet's legacy. So that's where this piece started. And the traveling of this piece was just a byproduct of once we had released images, really just online. It just like went viral. People just really connected with this sculpture. I mean, she was amazing. There were so many amazing moments in her life, and this incredible scope of the adversity she faced, even after she came down here and had escaped. I mean, it was just like a lifetime of adversity that she bucked up and overcame every time, and that to me is just incredibly inspiring.
Meet the people and places of Colleton.
I am Carolin.
I am Colleton. I am Colleton.
I am Carolin.
I am Colleton.
I am Carlton.
So come visit us today in Colleton County. The Beaufort District is not only famous for its historical development, but also why the Penn Center is a perfect historical resource. This land played a significant role during the American Revolution and Civil War. The years between the American Civil War, rice, indigo, and Sea Island cotton plantations were developed in Beaufort County and brought great wealth to the entire Lowcountry region. During the American Revolution, the inhabitants of Hilton Head Island sided with the colonists, and Tuskegee Island, just 1 mile south, was occupied by the Loyalists. Tuskegee Island, which can be translated to the First Key, became a British stronghold. Hilton Head Island was frequently raided by the British, even after the colonists surrendered at Yorktown in 1781. Capturing African slaves who were later sold in the West Indies was a benefit to the British because these slaves knew how to plant the prized rice crop and were key to the thriving large rice, cotton, and indigo plantations on the Sea Islands. Today, the area extending along the coast from the northern border in South Carolina to Amelia Island, Florida, and approximately 30 miles inland is known as Gullah Geechee Nation, who are descendants of former African slaves in the Lowcountry and British Empire. The Penn Center in Beaufort protects the memory of African American culture heritage that can be traced back to the Angola and Gullah ethnic groups of West Africa, who are descendants of those who live along the South Carolina coast and on the Georgia Islands. Anthropologists classifying those living on the South Carolina coast as Gullah and those on the Georgia Island and their mainland relatives as Geechee. It is recorded that these former slaves developed their own language, known as Gullah, in order to communicate with each other. Today, an estimated 500,000 people around the country and the world speak this Creole language with a Pidgin English base. Due to their isolation on the Sea Islands, many of the Gullah traditions were preserved and are still practiced today. But hey, let's not forget about the Civil War. After all, that was when the Penn Center was founded. Well, not at first. In 1862, Union troops were headquartered on Hilton Head Island, and the nation's first freeman's municipality was set up on the Beach City Road. Soon after, the Port Royal experiment was created by Northern missionaries and the Penn School was built. Today, the Penn Center is the only black historical landmark on the National Register in South Carolina, and it is dedicated to preserving the unique history, culture, and environment of the Sea Islands.
Thomas Wentworth Higginson was an abolitionist and minister living in Massachusetts when war broke out between the states. He enlisted and soon found himself as colonel of a newly established regiment, the 1st South Carolina Volunteers, the 1st Union Regiment recruited from freedmen. Higginson would be known for his documentation of Negro spirituals and his work with the freedmen of South Carolina. After the war, he devoted his life to helping and educating the free blacks. We remember Thomas Wentworth Higginson.
Meet the people and places of Colleton.
I am Carolin.
I am Colleton. I am Colleton.
I am Carolin.
I am Colleton.
I'm Carolin. I am Carlton.
So come visit us today in Colleton County. Givens Ferry State Park, located near Ridgeville, South Carolina, and 35 miles from downtown Charleston, rests on 988 lush acres on the Edisto River. The history of its formation into a state park goes back generations. Still, it would never have come to fruition without the work of the ferrymaster there, Philip Givens, who captained the boat on the Edisto River in the late 1700s. He also became the owner of thousands of acres, including the ferry shuttle area where the people and supplies were transported. The boat crossed the Edisto River connecting Augusta to Charleston. Givens lived there with his family until his death, although his home was believed to be burned to the ground many years ago by General Sherman. The land was distributed to many heirs and sold or lived in by the many families who became residents of the area. Eventually, the ferry and the land were given to the state of South Carolina on the condition it only be used as a state park and forestry preserve. It was developed by the Civilian Conservation Corps, a New Deal program created by President Franklin D. Roosevelt. It recruited unemployed young men from the urban areas to perform conservation work throughout the nation's forests, parks, and fields. Givens State Park will always remain a park where you can enjoy hiking the River Bluff Trail or the Old Loop Trail. You can also borrow some equipment through the Tackle Loaner program, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, which will allow you to try to catch some fish in the river and then relax in one of the simple cabins you can reserve for a night or two. Rent a tube through Edisto River Adventures or take a refreshing swim in the longest free-flowing Blackwater River in North America, the Edisto River. For all information, go to the website Givens Ferry State Park at southcarolinaparks.com to find all you can explore. You might even find one solo tombstone amidst the open fields, and that is the granddaughter Mary Elizabeth Ford, who rests there on the land where she was born. Surrounded by many acres of southern pine planted there, the legacy of the Givens family rests and lives on. Make your plans soon to discover and visit the historic and peaceful Givens Ferry State Park. Remember, don't make Colleton County just a stop. Make it a destination.
Kaka County Park is conveniently located in Ravenel, South Carolina, just off Highway 17. This beautiful park was once part of a rice plantation, a 5,500-acre rice plantation, with over 6 miles of trails and trailside exhibits, with elevated boardwalks through the wetlands. There is plenty of wildlife to see. Waterfowl, songbirds, deer, bobcats, and of course, the American alligator, swallowtail kites, and bald eagles, and so much more. Open Tuesday through Sunday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's closed on Monday, and there is an admission of $2 per person. But as you can see, the scenery and the scenic beauty is incredible. This is a quiet place to take a nice hike, to go on a picnic, to spend some time here. There is also a lot of history in Kaka, as it was part of the Stono Rebellion. The Stono Rebellion was a slave rebellion that began on September 9, 1739, in the colony of South Carolina. It was the largest slave uprising in the British mainland colonies. Not only are there rice fields, but there are vast cypress swamps. Still visible on the site are the dikes and the water control structures, the canals, all used in a previous era. The Interpretive Center offers educational groups a tremendous opportunity with self-led educational programs and also other programs for anyone from high schools, grade schools, even universities or colleges. Here you will also be able to see how enslaved Africans were able to apply their technology and skills in agriculture to bring the rice plantations to life in this area. To get to Kaka is relatively simple, or at least it sounds simple. It's 5200 Savannah Highway in Ravenel, and that's Highway 17 South. But beware, whether you're coming up from Savannah, which would be taking Highway 17 north towards Charleston, or heading down south towards Savannah from Charleston, the only thing you've got to watch out for is if you blink, you'll miss the exit. So keep your eyes wide open when you get into Ravenel, because it is there. And if you see the big sign for Kaka, you miss the entrance.
Coming soon, Cooking Southern Style at cookingsouthernstyle.com. Recipes, chefs, it's cooking, Southern Style.